Good afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to do a brief opening. I can't tell you how many exciting things that I've had an opportunity to do since January 25th, which was my first official day, but none more exciting than this. I am a huge fan of President Bush. I've known him since he owned the Rangers. As a matter of fact, he may not remember this, but I do. I actually was in one of the very first meetings that he attended as an owner of the Rangers. It's very exciting for me to have an opportunity to be back here and spend some time with him this evening. With that, I'm happy to take questions. This is all new enough to me, Richard, that any opportunity to spend time with a president of the United States is very exciting to me. This is particularly meaningful because I have a bit of a personal relationship with President Bush. He is and was one of ours. It is something of a fraternity, as you well know, and once you are a baseball owner, you always are a baseball owner. And I think equally important, President Bush's love of the game is really legendary in baseball. I was actually with a major league player today who had heard about the event and said to me, you know, I got to know President Bush a little bit when I played for the Rangers, and it was just so obvious that he's a huge baseball fan. So it's a great combination for me, baseball and a man that I really admire. I expect that there will be a decision on Josh before opening day. I should offer a word of explanation about that process. I mean, obviously with Josh recovering from surgery, it is allowed some time, the luxury of some time in the process, because there was no need to address the issue quickly because he's not going to be on the field either way. But we are working towards a resolution, and I think it will be done by opening day. Let me start at the beginning on pace of play. I mean, I think it's important to understand that pace of play was not some issue that we sat around a conference table in New York and decided, gee, you know, let's make pace of play the issue du jour. It really started in the commissioner's selection process. I can't tell you the number of times as I was working through the process that I heard from clubs, teams saying, look, we're hearing from our fans about this pace of game issue. We're hearing it. Some clubs had actually done some research that they brought to us. Following up on that after the election, we did some research of our own, and we did find, not surprisingly, when you think about our society, that pace of game was an issue that was of concern to our fans. I have said, and I do believe, that issues that affect the play of the game on the field are the ones that are the most difficult for us. And the reason for that's simple. If you make a mistake and you have some unintended consequences, you own that mistake 2,430 times a year. Your fans see it. It's very public. So whenever we have an issue like this, we rely heavily on people like John Sherholtz, Joe Torre, Tony La Russa, who've been on the field, know the game. The other thing we do, and we did it in this case, is we consulted with the MLBPA to make sure we understood where the players were on the topic. We then tested a very aggressive set of changes in the Arizona Fall League. We don't have enough people watching in the Arizona Fall League to be quite as nervous about taking a chance, and we did some very interesting things, a lot of which we liked. We then reconvened and decided that it was important to act this year. We acted with restraint. We picked a couple of initiatives that we thought were important and not too disruptive. And, you know, we've got them out there in the spring. You know, spring training games are different. It's hard to draw kind of interim judgments on them. But the early returns from club people, mostly anecdotal, and from players, I've been out talking to players, are positive, that the game is flowing a little better, and we're hopeful that that continues on into the season and that fans walk away thinking we've been responsive to their concerns. When you get a job like this, I think you have to start with the basics. From my perspective, it's the greatest job in the world, and whether you obviously want to look forward and put your own imprint on the game, on the institution. By the same token, I think you have to accept as a fact of life, nobody is able to complete every project on, in this case, January 25th. Some of the ones that have been left behind, like Oakland, in terms of their stadium situation, I was involved in before, so I was involved in trying to solve it, and am going to be even more active in trying to get it done going forward. The one baseball autograph that I have, and that I will always have, is a ball that President Bush signed that night after 9/11. It was a special moment in baseball history, and I know two things. I will never throw a pitch that good, okay, and I hope I never have a night like that night.